Hey, Dr. Mike here. Let's have a look at the basic controls for the mission editor. So when you go into a challenge with edit mode through the campaigns tab, you get this edit button which brings up the mission editor UI. We have the scene objects, or hierarchy as I often call it, showing all the objects in the scene in a list here. We have the object palette, where you've got all these different categories of abstract gameplay objects and also physical objects that you can place, organized into categories for your convenience. And here we have the inspector, which shows the details of any object you click on. Like if you click on the challenge itself, select that, you get to see all the details for the challenge there, and so on. So let's have a look first at the camera. Now I've got a little keyboard on the bottom right of my screen down here. This isn't part of the in-game UI, this is me recording. And that allows me to show you what keys I'm pressing while we're recording this. So you can see I'm holding the right mouse button down now, RMB. And that allows me to look around in free camera mode here. W and S move me forward and backwards, whatever angle I'm at. A and D pan me sideways, and Z moves me up, X moves me down in a purely vertical manner, no matter what angle I'm pointing at. So that's moving the camera around. Let's have a look at placing an object then. So I've got the interactable section, we'll place a computer here, we just click on something in here, it gets attached to our mouse, does sort of raycasting to work out where it should go, and left click will place it. Easy. Left click picks it up again and places it again. And you can see that object computer is now in the hierarchy. I can rename that if I like, security console or whatever, and it's renamed now. If I pick it up, you can see these rotation arrows around it. Now I need to scroll with the mouse wheel to rotate it, and it's snapping to 45-degree angles there. And then left click to place it again. I can press the middle mouse button, the little scroll wheel, and that will change my plane of rotation. Like so. You can get in a bit of a state doing that, so just press escape to, abort any movements you were doing or any rotations you were doing. It'll go back to normal. So there we are, that's moving and rotating objects. If I hold left shift down and do that, instead of picking up the object, I make a copy of it. And you can see it's called that computer, just the basic name for the object. If I do that again, it's called that one computer 1. It'll stick numbers on the end of things. Next one will be computer 2, because each object in the scene has to have a unique name, so we can refer to them. And that allows us to copy things. We can also move things vertically by holding down Control and then doing the scroll wheel. You can see I'm sort of levitating this computer up and down. And you can place it in mid-air like that. You can see by its shadow, it's actually floating. When I click on it, it'll snap back to the ground again. So Control and scroll wheel to move stuff up and down, which you might want to do for a bit of sort of fine placement of things here and there. Now, objects in this hierarchy are going to be parents and children of each other. Let's say I want to make these computers children of the security console. I just drag them to the right of the security console, and they end up becoming children in the hierarchy. You can see that. And I can collapse the hierarchy now, and I don't have to look at all of them. So this can keep your hierarchy clean. I don't want to look at the challenge just now. I just want to look at these things. Notice also these little information tabs above the child objects have disappeared. Now you see them, now you don't. So that's good for sort of grouping your gameplay together as you get into bigger missions. When I pick up an object and move it, it moves all its children with it. It rotates them like one big object as well. Now, we can make that not happen, we go to Settings, and you unclick Link Children. And now we can move the security console by itself, rotate it by itself, but we'll put Link Children back on for now. And close the settings up. Right. We can also use this dragging to reorder things in the hierarchy. Say I want computer to be last. I don't want to make it a child of computer 2, which is what happens if I drag it here. But I can drag it sort of to the left of computer 2 and it just goes as a child underneath there. Say if I wanted, yeah, if I drop another object in here, let's drop a bomb in here, and I want that to be the security console to go underneath it, I can just drag that onto the bomb here, and that reorders things. To delete things like that bomb, just delete the object. And you get a prompt there. Do I want to delete it? Yes, I do. If I delete the security console, let's do it, it'll delete everything. It'll take all the children with it. Unless, of course, I have link children unset. Now, say I want to make a few objects childs of this computer. Instead of having to drag each of them individually, I can press P. And that's made the computer the default parent now. So any object I place gets placed onto the computer. And you can see the computer's the default parent because it's got a P. It's got a blue name, rather. Not a P, it's got a blue name on it. If I press P now, bomb2 becomes the default parent. If I press P when the default parent is the currently selected object, that clears it, of course. So I can now move all them together, rotate them together, hold down Control and move them up and down together. Don't know if I want to do that. I'm backing out and pressing Escape. That's all the things we've learned so far. And if I go to Unlink Children, there, I can now delete the computer, the parent object. It doesn't ask me about its children, and the bomb has become top-level objects now. Now let's go over here where we're making some more gameplay and say I think, I want to remember what does bomb 1 do again. You can click View Object and it'll select it in the inspector without you having to go and find it. Bomb 2, same thing. If you double click on this or click on the one that's already selected, the camera goes and looks at it again. You can as well hold down Alt to look at objects like that, if you can see them. But this is handy if you're over here and you're trying to remember, what does bomb 2 do? What if I'm over here and I want to place bomb 1 here? I've got a really good camera angle, I'm in the zone working in this room, I can just go move object and it'll drag it there. If I make bomb 2 a child of bomb, go move object, should drag both of them across, should it at all? No, it doesn't. Right, that just picks up the object itself. That's why. Link children. Right, let's try that again. I'll delete bomb 2, it's over there. And I'll make bomb 1 a child of the bomb. If I'm over here and I want to move them both, I just go move object and I can now place them both. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's when you're looking at it in the right place but you don't know where the object is in the world, you can grab it from the hierarchy. If you see the object in the world but you don't know where it is in the hierarchy, Alt-click to select it. And reference its properties there. So what else do we need to have a look at? Deleting and the other settings, that's right. So in the settings here, we'll drop computer in again because they're less symmetrical. Snap to grid, you can see the computer. What's happened there? You can see the computer is snap into individual flagstones roughly. if we double that scale, make it bigger, it now sort of snaps every 2 flagstone intervals. If we make this smaller, 0.1, we've got much finer control over where to place it. Depending on what you're doing, you will figure out the right snap setting. Like if I'm placing a lot of data banks here, I probably want them about 1 meter apart to give me that nice kind of evenly spaced look. With the snap angles, going back to this computer here, if I rotate it, I'm rotating to 45-degree increments by default. I could maybe make that 90-degree increments, so it just faces north, south, east and west, and that's it. I could make it at 30-degree increments, so you've got sort of the 12 angles of the clock there, or even finer, maybe make it snap to 5-degree increments. So you've got much more sort of finer control if you wanted a kind of arbitrary pile of stuff that could be at any angle, kind of. And that, of course, applies to all axes. Not just the vertical axis, but the other ones that you can select through this. I find 90% of the rotation I do is around the vertical axis, which is why I tend to focus on that. Yeah, so that's a quick overview there. Place objects, pick them up and place them with the left mouse, pick them up and rotate them with the mouse wheel. Right mouse is for the camera to look around. Left shift to copy objects, to alt drag like that. Alt to select an object, alt and click. And one last one I'll just show you, alt and right alt and left click teleports the player. But that's more for debugging missions, which we'll get to later on. And finally, when you're done, you can save all the changes to your mission. I won't do that in this case. You can close to go back to where you were, possibly the teleported player there. And also you can press reset, which basically restarts the level, reboots everything. Any objects that have been moved around by physics or anything like that will now get reset, and interactables get reset and so on. So you're sort of restarting the mission in this case.